Okay, looking at the pencil tool, I want you to consider some shapes here. So I'm going to draw a kind of triangle-y sort of shape. You can see when I finish that last dot, when I click back on the green dot, it seals that shape in and it fills the middle with grey. If I do something similar, but I don't actually finish the line, and I press escape now, you can see that the centre of this doesn't get filled with grey. The difference is now that this is viewed as a complete face, it's a side, it's a piece of something. This one is just a line with nothing inside it. So if I wanted to come up to here and do a push-pull, I could make this into a three-dimensional shape. This one, can't do anything with it. You can see when I hover over it, there's a little no arrow thing on there saying I can't do that. So that's no good. So you've got to make sure that the shapes you're drawing are sealed shapes. Okay, let's just get rid of these. I'm going to show you two different ways now. So I'm going to get rid of that one by highlighting the whole thing and pressing delete. This one, if I wanted to just get rid of a particular line, I can use the eraser tool and just go over a line. Now it might be that I wanted to join these other ones back up again afterwards. So I could come back and I could finish off that shape, and now that's a solid shape. Now I could go and apply my push-pull techniques to it. I'm going to get rid of that whole thing again, so highlight the whole thing, turn it blue, delete it out the way. Okay, let's look a bit more detail at what I was talking about with different sorts of center lines and things shown. So there's my rectangle. I haven't bothered setting my dimensions, it's all very rough. But with my pencil tool now, if I highlight, you can see that there's different things shown. So if I get to the middle of somewhere, I get something called a midpoint. The rest of the time, when it's just on the line, it's red. If it's off the line, it's no colour at all. Same over here. If I come along, there's a midpoint. It tells me there's a midpoint. So it means it's the middle section. There'll be one over here. There'll be one over here somewhere. The corners go green because they're endpoints. So it means I can lock my drawing to any of these things. So if I wanted to draw from corner to corner, it locks to those points for me. Go from there to the midpoint. Go from this corner to this midpoint, and so on. What that allows me to do now is, if I wanted to, I've got different sections. So if I wanted to push-pull this one and make them different heights, push this one downwards, whatever, I've got a whole range of different things I can do with that shape using the push-pull technique. So it's very important to make use of where these midpoints and these endpoints are to lock onto. But what if I wanted to do something a little bit more accurate than that? So let's get rid of these again. Highlight it all, get rid of it. I'm going to draw myself a rectangle again, and on this rectangle now I'm going to make this one 100 by 100, so I'll do 100, 100, press enter. Okay, that's nice and small. Let's zoom it up a bit, move it around so we can see it a bit better. Now say I wanted to go in and I wanted to really be accurate and put a hole in it somewhere. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you another tool. Let's get this positioned a bit more nicely. Okay, say I wanted to drill a few holes that were perhaps 20 millimeters in from an edge. Now that's quite difficult to do, or is it? I can come over here and there's something called a tape measure tool. I'm going to choose my tape measure tool and I'm going to find an edge. It's actually found a center point, that's okay. And I'm going to move in, click and move in from there. Now all I've got to do is tell it how many millimeters. So if I type in 20 and press enter, you can see it produces a dotted line for me. I'm going to come from the other edge, click on it, start moving in, press 20. There's another dotted line for me. I'm going to come in from this top edge now, come downwards, press 20 again, press enter. You get the idea. It's putting these dotted lines in for me. Now these dotted lines are basically kind of construction lines. They can help me draw things. So now, if I wanted to do some circles, I could put a circle on each of these points where they meet. And the same thing, I start dragging my circle out, but I might decide that circle wants to be 10 mil. So I can press 10, come over to the next one. Now when I drag then it automatically jumped to 10 because it remembered the last one. So all I need to do is click with my mouse button a second time and it already knows the right dimension for me. If I wanted to change it I could just type in again or drag it bigger. So now I've got those 4 circles on my board. If I don't want to keep these construction lines on, I'll choose my little eraser and I'll just go over these lines. You can see they turn blue and they disappear. I don't need them anymore. I might have leave them on if I want to, but I don't think I needed them. I'm going to now see what I can do with these. So if I wanted to, I could make perhaps my whole thing come upwards and have the holes cut out. Okay, if I do Control Z, it takes me back one step. So perhaps I wanted to bring these up instead, or bring them up to different levels. Maybe I wanted to choose this and then bring it up, or I wanted to take it down the other way. So I've got lots of options as to how I can manipulate these three-dimensional shapes when I start drawing them. So basically all I'm doing is I'm making use of different geometric shapes and adding them all together. I'm combining them.